There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? They're here.
Welcome to the Horror Cut.
Hello, Horror Cut fans. I'm still Gary, and you are
Still Stig.
still Stig. Still Stig. I would ask how you are, but we just finished recording Pet Cemetery, and you told me before that. So you still good?
Yeah, still good. Pet Cemetery was fun, wasn't it?
It was. I actually just discussing Pet Cemetery with you. I got like more respect for it as well as a film, which is good.
Yeah.
Accepted
Me
it a wee
too.
bit more. But we are not at a cemetery, but we are at another ancient Indian burial ground. What are we talking about today?
This is part 2 of the ancient Indian burial ground podcast extravaganza, and it is the Amityville Horror.
Yeah, another pick by you.
Yeah, play trailer.
Yeah. Why did you pick this one?
It's a classic, isn't it?
Just get out.
It's a classic. I loved the book. I read the book probably not long after reading The Exorcist. I can't remember which one I wrote. I wrote. Can you imagine if I wrote that? How amazing would that be? After I read it, and the book is so good. The book is genuinely scary.
Tell us a little bit about the book. Whose point of view is it from then? Or is it a mix of news reports?
Yeah, but the book was written by G. Anson, so it's just a story. So it's not written from any of the characters.
Sorry, you might
perspectives.
hear Pippa back in the background just now. Pippa's my dog, but
Or is it Pippa? Is it not the dog in the Amityville?
yeah. So you liked the book?
Yeah, I'd highly recommend getting it. I think the book sold really, really well when it came out. And then I think, with the 70s, with the love of, I guess, haunted house films, and even with The Exorcist as well, they pushed it up as well. So I think there was just this big clamour to try and get as many of these sort of stories out there as possible. And with the success of the book, they decided to make it into a film.
And from what you can remember, is it a similar story? Is it very so? You wouldn't really get much new from the book, would you? Then
I don't think so. I think it's done in pretty much the same way as a film, where it's sort of day by day telling you this is what happened in this day. Just kind of go through the story.
almost like a diary, then. I guess.
Maybe essentially, yeah. But it's kind of told just as a first person.
Okay, yeah.
Is that right? First person. Yeah. But yeah, I'd highly recommend getting a hold of it and reading it.
So, how was this film compared to the first time you watched it, up till your most recent watch, then, or the last time you can remember watching it?
Trying to think the last time I actually watched this, maybe 15 years ago. In fact, I probably watched it. No, because the remake came out in early 2000s, didn't it?
Yeah, I highly recommend the remake as well.
The remake's pretty good, actually. Yeah,
Ryan
Reynolds. Yeah. I think for the most part the film still holds up. Yeah, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I'd only seen this film for the first time, I'd say maybe 5 years ago, and we kind of put it on as background noise.
Okay.
And didn't really pay much attention, so I didn't really enjoy it that much. And I knew that was a me thing. I knew I hadn't paid enough attention to it. And this time watching it, I really enjoyed it. I think it's like one of my notes here is it's almost like a mood. You could put it on, maybe not necessarily in the background, but it's a good lights down, relax. You don't need to pay too much attention to it, because if you do, not a lot's explained anyway. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I feel like tonight I could go to bed and put it on again and just fall asleep to it, but not because it's boring. It's just an atmosphere, isn't it? And it's quite comforting in a weird way.
I think horror films from the 70s do all sort of have that. It's a strange comfort in nostalgia. And I guess, I've seen this film when I was a kid, so there's that as well. I think that's why we always kind of go back to sort of classic films, is to sort of remember those times as we watch them, and then just having that comfort that's attached to them, which is bizarre because the film is, there's some pretty effective moments in the film. Actually, without jumping too far into it, they get out when you hear the first
Get out.
It's like, it's a sort of rasp. It's a weird. I was actually quite taken aback by it listening to it. Well, when I watched it there, I was like, wow, that hit me.
Yeah, I think that all seems good, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Yep.
First of all, we need a synopsis.
All right. Okay, I'll try not to hit the ceiling this time with the coin. Heads or tails?
I'll go heads.
Tails.
So me again.
30 seconds and go.
After a brutal murder in the Amityville house, the Lutz family move in, and George Lutz starts to feel something's not quite right with the house, and it slowly starts to eat away at him. Is it supernatural? Only the Lutz really know.
Ooh, that was good. Well done.
Not bad.
Did you practice that?
No, I actually didn't. I was panicking.
It's the kind of house they don't build anymore. A relic of a time when the world wasn't in such a hurry, when there was still time for a little charm and elegance. It has stood empty for a long while, and at the price, it is a bargain. For a growing young family, it is almost too good to be true.
What do you think?
I love it.
James Brolin, Margot Kidder, Rod Steiger in the Amityville Horror.
God's peace in this house.
Hello?
Hello, Kathy. Father Delaney, there's something very important.
So one thing I noticed when I was watching this, and again, I don't know the reason as to why this is. You might know being a filmmaker, but this film loves a close-up, but what it does, not just a close-up, it's a shot where it's kinda the camera's below them, looking up at an angle.
High angle.
There's loads of them.
Right. I can't actually say I noticed it. Is it just out of curiosity? Is it mostly on? Is it mostly on George?
I think it is mostly on George.
Maybe to give him this kind of intimidation feel, because if you shoot the camera up at an actor, they look more impressive. They look more mighty, more big, just bigger. And I guess the close-ups might be a case of the slow deterioration of the character.
Yeah,
because he looks great at the start with his like big fluffy hair, and then he's just like a sweat bag at the end of it.
Sweat bag.
He is sweaty, man. All his hair stuck to his face. So that might be why. Yeah, it was mostly. I guess it was mostly that angle. That might be the reason as to why. And a lot of close-ups hide a lot, because you're not having to show. Like this film is quite low budget, so the more close-ups you do, the more stuff you've not got in the frame. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it can be cheaper if you keep to a lot of close-ups as well. Okay, what was the budget? Do you know? I don't know, but you can tell looking at it, it wasn't huge. Wasn't it a big budget? I guess The Thief, to get like guys like James Brolin, and that would have been quite a bit. So James Brolin, is he related to Josh? Yep, brother. That's his dad. Ah, brother. Should say much. He's actually still alive. Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's great in it. I think he's great. He's good. He's very good, isn't he? Yeah. I want to kind of like just something that we were touching on earlier is I was saying it's like a mood, this film, right? Like I would say the Amityville is kind of like a feeling rather than a story. Like there's not much in the way of plot in this. A family move in, some weird shit starts to happen. They want to kind of get out, but they can't afford it. Like, there's not much in the way of demons or monsters in this. It's built on purely POV shots and windows and doors opening and closing. and really good sound design as well. Like I think sound design adds a lot to it. You know, like, as I said, like rather than it being the remake uses a lot of shots of demons and that, but in this one it's like here's a rocking chair swinging on its own, or here's a window jamming shut, and that is kind of frightening enough for a lot of it.
Simple but effective, isn't it?
Yes, but do you know what it reminded me of? The Amityville? Because I've said it's a mood, it's atmospheric, not a lot happens in the way of seeing ghosts and things in it.
Conjuring?
No. It reminded me of another film which came out 1 year later. Also built in an ancient Indian burial ground. Here's Johnny.
Ah, okay.
The Shining, right? So Amity came out in 1979 and The Shining came out in 1980. The Shining is a better film, I would have to say. But I'm not sure you get the audience to The Shining without this coming out first. I think the audience loved this when it came out, and then it's like, here's another kind of haunted house. Oh, it's a hotel. But it's very similar, right? Because you've got like the blood seeping through the stairs and the walls. In The Shining, you've got the elevator and the blood coming through. In this, you've got George with his axe trying to kill his family.
Yeah.
You've got Jack Nicholson with his axe trying to kill his family. Is it all in his head or not?
Yeah.
Very similarities there. You've got wide, creepy shots of the house and they linger on it for a while. Kind of like you get the shots of the hotel. Obviously, I do really love the eyes of, well, the windows of the Amity house, which do look like eyes. That's something that The Shining doesn't really have.
Yeah, it doesn't. No.
And it's kind of like the house is always watching, which I kind of like there as well.
The house is a character in itself, isn't it? Especially with those eyes that it's got.
Yeah. So it just kind of reminded me a little bit of The Shining, but then The Shining film is so different from the book that I wonder if did Stanley Kubrick get a little bit of inspiration from the Amityville book as well as the Shining book?
Yeah. And such a big director as well, Kubrick, making something like The Shining. Again with this, with Stuart Rosenberg making a film like this as well. That's quite
Which I wouldn't say this is high on his credit list.
No.
You know, he's done some other really interesting things there. There isn't much in the way of plot, but it's a really comfortable and enjoyable watch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as you said, day 5, a window closes on the wee boy's hand. By the way, that was brutal, that scene, to be fair.
That was
done really well. And then it's like, day 12 in the Amityville house. It's like Big Brother. But there's not much, like...
George has an axe.
Please don't swear. You are alive. See, also, though, when Kathy and George get the tour at the start, and you get flashes of the DeFeos being murdered.
Man, yeah.
Kathy kind of has this like worried look in her eye as she's like going about, and I wonder if at that point she can sense something's not quite right with the house. Like she's keeping a like smile on her face as the real estate agent's taking them round. I don't know if there's just this like uncomfortable look, and Margot Kidder plays it really well. To be fair, as well.
She does know, they do know at this point that there's been a murder in that house. So it could just be that. Because it's interesting, a lot of these films, it's like they don't find out there's a murder in the house until after they've bought it.
Yeah.
But these guys do know. And it's interesting what you said, they actually had those flashes in between the murders, and then when they go up the stairs, there's a freeze frame, it just stops on they two.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Notice that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it kind of worked to me.
I know that the estate agent finds out that they've got 3 kids, but they're newlyweds, and she kind of works out then they can't all be George's.
Yeah.
Right. And she kind of gives this like, and eye roll as if she doesn't approve of it as well, but then she's like, fuck it, leave them to it.
70s,
You know, I just thought that was quite interesting as well.
I found it quite interesting. I love the bit where they're both sitting in between the eyes in the attic.
Yes, that's
I
beautiful.
love that.
And they're like really homely and like cozy.
Yeah, and I forget. I think maybe in a lot of these films you forget, or I did, how good a person George is. He is a hard-working man looking after these 3 kids who aren't his, but he has a lot of care for them. He has. If you didn't know that he was a stepdad, you would mistake him for the father right away, just by the way he is with them. So yeah, but I guess that's a nice contrast to actually see him how he actually develops.
See,
in the rest of the film.
On that note, I'm going to end up rattling through this here, but on that note, so the film is set in the 70s, which was a different time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the film is touching on a man's fear, right? And the pressure of being a man and to provide for a family. And even on this, the strains of being a stepdad and fitting into the family. And it's like George is having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
That's obviously, yes, the house could be haunted. If it's not, then it's a man having a mental breakdown for the most part. So if you think about that scene where the aunt comes over and we find out she's a nun.
Oh, yeah.
But just before that, he says it will be a goddamn regimental inspection and we're not ready. So already he's stressing about what does this family think of him.
Yeah.
And he's raising, as you said, he's raising 3 kids that aren't his. His friend Jeff, when they're in the bar as well, I think Jeff works for him or they're in business together.
His business partner, yeah.
He says to him, you take on too much, you marry a dame with 3 kids, you buy a big house, and you've got mortgages coming out your ass. He's talking about the pressures that this man's got, and that's what they're blaming for his kind of breakdown here. You've got one of the priests who also says, I believe we create our own demons in our own minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, thematically, is that what this is? Like, it's a 70s film, and as I says, they don't really show the ghosts and all that in it. And now they try to hit home at how hard it must be to, raise a family with 3 kids. Being a stepdad, you are a little bit of an outcast. The wife, Kathy, doesn't seem to be working either, so he's having to provide. The house is massive as well, needs a lot of work. Is it all just too much for him?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a mental breakdown? Is that thematically what you could take from this?
Yeah, and it could be thematic. You could take from it that may have been the reason why George Lutz, the real George Lutz, came out with this story.
Well,
he could have seen a bit of money in this and been like, here, I'm struggling here.
I mean,
I've got these 3 Waynes who aren't mine. I'm having a mental breakdown. How can I turn this into an advantage? What can I do?
People have said that they were in debt, and this was a way to get out of it, was to say the house is haunted and just leave. I mean, you could take it that's like maybe the director and the writer are thinking, let's not go one way or the other with this. I mean, there is stuff in it, like the blood seeping through the stairs and all of that. Is that in the characters' minds though? Rather, is it actually happening?
Like a shared
it's like paranoia, like a vision almost.
Yeah, what's the name?
It's like a multi delusion.
It's like a shared
paranoid delusion.
There's a word for it. I can't remember exactly what it is, or a phrase for it. Because that's the kids. Because I think the kids were fairly vocal about everything as well that they saw, and it could be that they were either very well trained by George, or it could just be that they were victims to that word, the phrase that I can't think of.
Or it could be, I mean, we're really speculating here.
Oh, totally.
But could it be also that Kathy and George were perhaps making the house seem haunted?
Yeah.
So is it the kids then believe it? Because if the girl, what's her name again? The young girl thinks, is it Amy?
I think it is Amy.
Amy keeps seeing her friend.
Yeah, Amy.
What's the friend called? The imaginary friend.
Jodie.
She keeps seeing Jodie.
Jodie.
So if Amy in real life had an imaginary friend called Jodie, let's play on that.
Yeah.
What do you think of the scene where George is losing it with the axe at the end, and he sees Kathy, but she's really old and wrinkled? It's a split second.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't. Yeah.
And if we just want to kind of round off on this thematic theme of, is it just a mental breakdown? The black goo in the toilet bowl is never really explained either. Remember, it all kind of comes up.
Yeah.
But I think that's another metaphor for the darkness kind of seeping into their life as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What do you think of the sort of religious themes that are through it? With well, I guess the priests. That's almost like, it's funny because you've almost got this. You get this sort of. There's a lot of screen time given to the priests in the church and things, and you've got the family, but then you've also got the fails as well, which they're not in it a lot. You don't really see much of them, but the story sort of lingers through it. Absolutely loved when George goes into the bar and he's getting served the drink, and the barman freaks out and he's like, "What?" And he goes, "You look like that guy, who the guy that shot up his kids like last year. You look exactly like him." Loved that,
and it relates to Kathy, who is going through the news reports.
She's going through the
and
news
all she
reports.
sees is George rather than the DeFeo lad. I can't remember his name.
Ronnie,
yeah.
Ronnie DeFeo.
And I thought that was quite interesting as well, that they just used a picture of Brolin rather than like,
it's something to make him look a little bit like him.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because in the remake Ryan Reynolds plays Lutz, and you see DeFeo and they don't look so alike.
Yeah,
but by the end, they both got beards and the hair's all so.
And we've started to kind of mention that was an actual. That's an actual case. It's true. The DeFeo murders.
It's weird
he
that
died recently, and I think Ronnie died in prison recently, not too long ago, actually.
I think that's interesting that they've never really made a film on that stuff. It's always the Lutz.
That is always the Lutz, yeah.
Well, it's always the Lutz that we speak about, but we've came to realise that there's about 22 Amityville horror-esque prequels, sequels, spin-offs, or whatever else.
There could be something in there then that's more focused on the Lutz murders.
Yeah.
To
go back to your religious elements of it, Father Delaney, I think, is the main priest. And he's kind of like the B-plot, isn't he, of this? And he's our hero, I guess. It's trying to save the family.
Yeah.
But not once does he appear in a single scene with the family. It's bizarre. Right?
It's very separate.
It's weird, right? It's just weird. Like, but you do get this like feeling that he does really care about them, which I find interesting, that they've been able to do that without them ever being on screen at the same time. And he would have been able to help them if it wasn't for that pesky house, because he tries to call them.
Yeah.
And the phone cuts out and he starts vomiting down the phone and things like that. He tries to visit them, but somehow, the house takes control of the car, takes control of the brakes and the steering wheel, flips the hood up so they can't see, and they crash into the side of the road. Nonsense.
Absolute nonsense.
I love it, but nonsense.
Good actor as well.
Yeah. Well, I've got he's got this amazing monologue, which I think is the best scene in the film. So I've kind of got it saved. I'm going to play it, and
Well, I think it's nonsense. There's nothing to cover up. But I think it's bureaucratical bullshit. What do you think I am? I am not some pink-cheeked seminarian who doesn't know the difference between the supernatural and a bad clam. I am a trained psychotherapist. I went into that house, and what I saw there was real. What I felt there was real. And what I heard there was real. Now, gentlemen, I have a family in my parish that's at great risk, and they are facing real danger. Who the hell do you think you are? You think your secular education gives you the right to question the church? Sit down!
That scene alone sells that this house is haunted to the audience.
Yeah,
he's a selling point
of
it. It's a really good scene.
Yeah, really good scene.
Strong performance as well.
Yeah, and there's a bit later on when he's in the church, and he sort of has a complete sort of breakdown, doesn't he?
He goes blind.
That's right,
His senses start to go, and the statue starts to crumble. I can't remember what the statue was of, but that starts to crumble as well, and that's how his last scene is sitting in like a monastery outside, and he's blind. And it's a really sad ending. I don't know if the film is kind of worthy of it because the characters never meet.
Yeah.
But I'm not a religious person, but you're asking about the religious elements. I think he is what sells the story.
Yeah, he definitely does, doesn't he?
And it's interesting because I think this film's saying a little bit more as well in that scene, because just after it, Father Ryan, the one that shouts at Delaney, turns around to the other priest in the room and he says, Father Bolin it is, he turns around to, and he says, you could do with a haircut and a shave. And to me, this shows the church aren't about helping anyone. They're about keeping up face and politics, I guess, as well.
Politics, yeah.
They don't want involved in this, because what if it is true? That brings press and
bad publicity.
Else. Yeah.
But if anything, that was kind of stuff would, because if this, you'd imagine if this stuff did exist, it's a sort of, it backs up the theory of God and religion and X, Y, Z.
Yeah. But is it not like, I might be getting mixed up with the remake, but is it not like it was a bad priest that was doing stuff on this ancient burial ground?
Ketchum.
So maybe Father Ryan's like, we're keeping away from this. I know the history here.
I don't know if he was. I don't know if he was a priest, Ketchum.
He
was an actual person as well.
Was it?
Yeah, he was an actual person, but I don't think he was a priest, but it'd be interesting. He was some kind of maybe like colonizer or something.
Maybe then. I thought they played into a priest in the sequel, but maybe I'm wrong. Did you notice the mayor from Jaws is in this?
What is it with that guy?
So he plays Father Ryan in this.
Fucking hell.
Do you want to hear my fan theory?
Oh, go for it.
Mayor Vaughn is the mayor of Amity Island.
Amity Island.
He doesn't listen and people get eaten by a shark. Then he disappears and finds Christ and becomes Father Ryan, then refuses to help the family of Amity.
And then he is the main character in Amity Shark.
Maybe. There is a sequel called Amity Shark, or about a shark as well.
What do you think of like the sort of scare pieces, the scare set pieces throughout the films? Are there any that really kind of stuck out to you that you thought really worked well? Was there ones that you thought weren't great?
I love the Father Delaney scene when he first goes into the house and all the flies are on the window. The get out scene. I thought, I don't know, that worked for me. It's one of the freakiest scenes in the film, and it's the way the flies smother the window and attack him, and I think it works even better because it's in daylight.
Yeah.
It's not a dark scene. And the contrast of that is the Lutz are outside at the boathouse, having pure joy while this manic scene is happening, and it's almost like there's evil and decay inside the house, and it's a nice contrast to them having a lot of fun outside the house.
Yeah.
And just little things like there's really cool close-ups of the flies' eyes and their wings and the sound design there. That stuff all looks great.
Those close-ups are brilliant.
Yeah. And then you get the voice right at the end of the scene.
Get out!
Yeah. What about the scene where Kathy goes to the window and there's the two red glowing eyes?
When she goes into Jodie's room. No, Amy's room, and she says Jodie jumped out the window.
She goes sitting and you just see these two eyes. I thought that worked really well.
There's a bit of sound in there as well. Sound design, it's almost like that jump kind of sound, that like flash sound. Yeah, it works.
Graham Ray says, remember reading the quote, unquote, true story on Amityville Horror as a child of 10 when it came out, and I seem to recall a scene with a set of evil red glowing eyes at a window. Couldn't sleep for nights afterwards. Yeah. So I think that scene did really work. It's a quick jump scare.
Yeah.
Again, though, it's never really explained what it is.
I think it's maybe a pig.
Okay. Oh, because there's the pig flash later on, isn't there, as well? And
I think the pig came into the remake as well a little bit, I think. Oh. I think there was, and I think in the book as well, it was something to do with a pig.
Right.
Which is interesting. I loved the bit where, I loved when Kathy wakes up screaming during the night when she says she was shot in the head. That really hit me. I loved that.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of focus on realism in films from the 70s in general, and I think this film does a great job of it. I love the scenes. There's numerous of them in film where you see George trying to sleep, or the couple trying to sleep. This is kind of, and they're sort of like gripping. They're gripping the pillows, and you can see that anxiety and the tension going through them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can hit home with people, especially people who maybe, well, if you're going through a tough time in your life, you know when you wake up during the night and you're just drenched in sweat and you're there's this fear.
Yeah, or like if you
Those,
can't
they
sleep
work
at
for
night,
me.
if you can't work at night, and you can't work, if you can't sleep at night because of like work or things like that, and you do kind of wrestle and grip the pillow, trying to get comfortable to fall asleep, but your mind's just going too much as well.
Especially with George, his sort of demise, his descent into sort of madness throughout the film. On that, actually, we're drinking the makeup for that.
It's just a bit of eyeshadow.
I know, it's a bit eyeshadow.
One thing I didn't expect that I did jump at, talking about the jump scares, was they get out the house and they're in the van and they've left the dog behind. And George goes back for the dog, and he falls through the basement floor, and he falls into like a hole of basically blood and black goo. And I didn't expect that at all when it happened. I thought it was a really cool shot.
That's cool.
And the hero of the day is the dog, pulls him out, doesn't give up on him.
Aye, that's it.
And I thought that was quite a cool scene. And I thought the stuff with the blood and that coming through, seeping through the stairs and the walls looked quite cool.
Quite cool.
Done practically, which was pretty cool as well.
What do you think of the score? Again, we kind of spoke about it in the Pet Sematary episode, but there's that. I think he was nominated for an Oscar for that.
Oh, really?
Lalo Schifrin,
right,
who's done a lot of good films actually. Mission Impossible TV series, Mission Impossible 1 and 2, Tales of Halloween, Amityville, Rush Hour 3. Oh, Class of 1984, what a film. Amazing.
Been about for a while.
Yeah, he's been about, but I think his the composition and you kind of touched on it earlier, you said about the mood and the atmosphere of the film, and I think that goes really, really well with that score. It really aids the ambience of the film.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we like these characters? Do you think the characters are likeable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of feel for them, don't you?
I like them. I think the parents anyway. Kids don't get enough screen time.
No, they don't.
It's kind of like when we spoke about The Conjuring. They do get more screen time in The Conjuring first half, and then it kind of fizzles out. But the kids, I mean, at one point, I think George says, "Where are blah 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 and blah blah blah," and I was like, "All right, there's more kids because you've not seen them at this point." And I think they could have done a little bit more. But I think George and Kathy are very likeable. Fancied Kathy a wee bit watching it this time around as well.
You did say that, yeah. You said
when
that.
you put on those glasses. That was me. That was me. But even like you can see that this, whatever this presence is, it's really getting to George.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still trying to like hold this family together. So there's that scene where the money goes missing from is it Kathy's brother that's getting married?
Jimmy.
Jimmy's getting married and he's lost this money in the house. And George is standing there sweating. He's a bucket of sweat. And he says, "I'll pay for it." And then they go to the wedding and George is looking so ill. He tries to write the guy a check and he's like, "I don't do checks," or whatever it is he says. And George's like, "Come on, I'm just trying to get through this," basically. And you do like sympathise for him, I think. And I think that's because they make him, as you said, they make him likeable at the start.
Yeah.
You know, that scene where they're sitting inside the house in the attic, the eyes are either side of them. That's the scenes there that you're like, okay, these are nice people as well. What do you think about the money going missing though?
Oh, aye, yeah.
I mean, what? Okay, so let's...
Maybe the house likes money.
What does the house want?
Just to fuck with them.
just wants them to get out, I guess. It says at the start, get out. But, like, to go from, like, stealing money to, like, blood seeping through the walls to red eyes to making Kathy look old to some sort of pig demon. Like, this is what I mean with the plot's a bit loose, and it's more like just a mood and a feel.
Yeah.
Because these things don't get explained really.
Don't.
And again, is it because I heard as well that the Lutz's stories didn't really make sense, like with each other, they were telling different stories. So maybe like the author and the writer of the film was just like, we'll take a wee bit from here and a wee bit from there, and we'll join it together and we'll mash it up. And
see, I get as what you said earlier on about like the financial strain of George, what he's under. It's just maybe like, let's just chuck this in there to be like, show again that this guy's bleeding money for his arse, and it's just another way. It's just adding to the pile of shit.
So in real life, these are real people, so we shouldn't slang it too much. But do you think in real life, like George stole Jimmy's money, and Jimmy's like, "Where the fuck's my money?" And he's like, "House took it, mate.
Sorry,
haunted. Sorry, now you can do it."
Going back to what you said about the kids not getting enough screen time, do you think it's maybe because the other actors are just so good, like Brolin Kidder and the guy that played the priest thing? It's just maybe like, because I think this was it's a serious film, and I think these are serious actors brought on for this project. Apparently, I think it was was it the guy yesterday who done an article with Margot Kidder back in the day, in an interview.
Yeah,
she did say that these guys are super serious. Like these are, so she felt a little bit out of place.
Right. So I should just note here that Aaron Carruthers said that he interviewed Margot Kidder and brought up the Amityville Horror Tour. So if you want to check out Aaron's article, if you go into the Horror Cut show, you'll see it under us looking for anyone that wants to talk about this film. So you'll find it in the comments. I'll try and link it to the show notes as well. But you read the article, yeah?
I did, yeah. And that was one of the things I picked up on. It was just how I think Margot done it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing she said. It was like, do ones for money, do ones for heart. So you do a big one. You do one for money, and you do one for the heart.
And as an actor, do you agree with that, Stephen?
I'll just take it as I can get it, mate.
I mean, I guess for me as a director, I would take them for the money. Oh, it says that we're selling ourselves to something. I know. But then you try your best with the work that you provided, I
exactly,
guess.
That's it. Absolutely, yeah. What do you think of George's business partner's partner? She's kind of like the sort of psychic,
she's very Stephen King. We just did the Pet Cemetery episode. She's got the psychic connection to Indian burial ground.
She's got that connection. Because at first, when she gets to the house, it's one of the scenes where the business partner, what's his name? Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff. She stays in the car, or she stands next to it.
Told to or something.
She's like, I'm not getting in there, fuck this. Mm-hmm. And then later on, she's like, no, I'm getting in this house. And that's what leads him to the basement. Because that dog has been down that basement, scratching away for a couple of days. And then she goes down. I loved the look on George's face when he breaks through.
Yeah.
It's just the
red light comes through.
Oh, man.
That's cool.
Very, very cool, yeah.
Yeah, but with the Jeff's partner, it's kind of interesting because it seems like she's got a connection, but with, like, Jeff has never said, my wife's a bit psychic or whatever. So is she supposed to be psychic, or is it a case of the house is pulling her? But then why? Again, this is one of these things. I wonder if Jeff and the partner are actually real people.
Yeah.
Or if they were like brought in for the film. Like, I wonder if they're actually based in any... Did she have a psychic connection to it, or is that... Because that's interesting, because that's bringing it away from the Lutz's story. Because they're bringing in a new character there, so I wonder if she really existed and felt this.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm not sure.
Surge to it.
Maybe something to look up and check. Yeah. What do you think? I found this. I don't know if this was something I'm maybe overthinking it, but when the little boy gets his hand caught in the window, it says, I think George says it. He says there was no bones broken in the hand. It's almost like, why couldn't we get that window open then? If it was that heavy and that forceful, it would have broke his hand, but there's nothing broke. I don't know if it was just a throwaway comment or if I'm looking too much into it. But he does say that. It's almost like he's got this look in his face where it's like, why is there no bones broke?
Is it again that the house doesn't maybe want to kill them? It's just fucking with them, or it doesn't. The house isn't going to do damage to them, but you know, if it gets into George's mind enough, George is going to do the damage, as in the same way that DeFeo, Ronnie did as well. So maybe it's kind of like because the house actually doesn't really hurt anyone, and it covers the priest and flies. Although he's always spewing, and then the nun spews as well.
The nun is spewing. Yeah. What do you think of the cop? I've not really spoken about the cop.
So, like, again, here's my thing, right? I think they've tried to flesh the Amityville story out a little more. Maybe first go around, this doesn't deserve to be a film, right? And then they've went, right, we've got all this stuff with the Lutz here, and everything they mentioned were fired into this story. But we're coming in at about the 45-minute mark, not over the hour. What else can we do? Let's bring in a priest. And they've filmed all that separately. But actually, the guy that plays Father Delaney is fucking tremendous at them. And then they've went, this still isn't enough to get his feature length. Let's bring in a cop that's keeping an eye on George Lutz and see what he's up to. He's kind of like Columbo.
Yeah, aye.
And then he goes to like the monastery and sees the blind priest. Delaney's now blind. But then he never really comes back into it.
No, he doesn't, does he?
You know, it's a bit weird because I know the remake, the cop isn't in it. The father is.
Oh, the priest?
Yeah. He's Father Delaney's in it, but they have scenes together, like Kathy Lutz and him. But yeah,
cool.
So I thought, what do you think of the cop?
I found in my head, I've not wrote it down, but there's a bit where he asks the other father, is it Father Stroud or something?
Yes, I know.
It's just quite funny. I can't remember what he says exactly, but he's kind of like, it's almost like he's just scratching his head. Like,
what do you think's going on here?
There's something that's just not sitting right with me here. But I've not wrote it down. I wish I could remember what he actually said. But
one thing I've got here that I would like to talk about is, you kind of touched on it earlier, but it's the credits, like, you know, like the text on screen, like day 1, day 5, day whatever, right? I didn't really mind them coming through. And then it came up saying the final day. I'm like, that's a bit of a fucking spoiler. Like, we know this. Why do we need to know it's the final one? We know whatever's going to happen is now going to happen right now.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a weird thing to do there. Yeah.
That annoy you? Cheers, you pricks. I guess I don't really touch on it too much, but I think the film does a great job in exploring the effect of the dynamic of the family, what's going on here. Towards the end, or maybe about half an hour beforehand, when you see Kathy, she's driving to, I think it's almost like they're on their own separate journeys trying to work out what's going on here.
Are you talking about when George Lutz decides to steal a book from a library?
That's right, he does.
You don't need to steal a book.
Shocking.
You can borrow it.
You can just borrow it, aye.
He sticks it right down his groin, man. That's going to be some stinky-ass book.
Down his juke, aye.
He looks cool in the motorbike, though.
Nah, he does.
He looks cool in
Did he always have the motorbike in the film? Or was it just a part of his going nuts? He's like, fuck it, I'm going to buy a motorbike.
I never noticed in the motorbike.
I never noticed it in the first bit. It's almost like he's
stole it.
So did the house make him buy a motorbike just to fuck with his financial situation again?
I mean, another thing could be, you know, men, midlife crisis.
That's just buying in the midlife crisis thing. So maybe that's touching on, like, I think it's come back to what you were saying about bringing up kids and the mortgage coming at his ass and midlife crisis. He goes and buys a motorbike,
steals a book from a library.
Guy's such a rebel, isn't he? But do you think the house is like, right, how am I going to get rid of this guy? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make him spend all his money on stuff he doesn't need. So he's going to sell the place and then I can be alone again.
Maybe that's it. Maybe the house just wants to be alone.
Maybe it does, aye.
Bit of an introvert.
Yeah, bit of an introvert, the house, aye.
But you were saying it, Kathy and George are on their 2 separate journeys.
Yeah.
And she's going to, like, the newsroom, looking up the news articles and stuff.
Looking up the news article and stuff, because it's like what they're doing together just isn't working. George is in his own sort of headspace, and he's he's going more into the. I think he's at this point he's looking at the John Ketchum stuff. Kathy is at this point just trying because she's trying to get hold of Father Delaney. George is kind of trapped by the house and essentially becoming Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Kathy's just like, holy shit, this place is haunted.
And is she not looking at the fail case, and then that leads her
She's
to...
kind of, yeah.
I think Kathy is a good character to like watch on screen, and I don't mean in a pervy way, but she's not given enough agency. Like every time something goes wrong, she's like, George, are you okay? Or you're burning up. She's almost just this like kind of stay-at-home wife. But the second half, she's given a little more to do, which I kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, is like speaking to her husband's not working. She can't get a hold of the father.
Yeah.
So it's almost like she can't get a hold of the men to help.
Yeah.
And then she's like, shit, I'll handle this too. She doesn't do too much to handle it, I'll be honest. Like, she goes and looks at some news reports, sees that her husband now looks like Ronnie, comes back to the house, and then they're attacked. Like The Shining.
The line, and I don't know if he landed it perfectly, but I guess I could relate to it. It was when George screams, "I'm coming apart," and he's sort of pulling his hair and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty effective. Although I think James Bond did say that he thinks, I don't know if I've done the best. It'd be interesting to see other takes of that.
Yeah.
To see what landed, because I think it is quite harrowing. You do feel for him, and that if anyone's ever actually felt that way, where you just feel like you're losing your shit, it's quite scary, and it does add to the effect of the overall film, I think.
And it is going back to that kind of mental breakdown thing as well.
This house does have a fence, and they both saw it before they bought it. Yeah, shit still happens.
So if you don't know what he's talking about there, on our Pet Cemetery episode, he says that they'd have all been fine if they just put up a fence. I'm kind of on the fence about that.
On the fence, aren't you?
So, sequels then.
Yep.
I think there's over 20 kind of sequels, remakes, reboots, spin-offs, things with the Amityville and horror kind of in it. Have you seen much any? Yeah. What do you think?
A lot of them. Amityville 2 is the Possession, I think.
That's one I've seen like on ITV4, and I've only seen half of it, but I remember Polly Young
in it.
From the Rocky franchises, the main dad in it.
Amityville 3D.
Okay.
I don't remember too much about that one. Amityville 4. Is it the Awakening? The New Awakening?
Right.
I think that, do you know what? They're comfort films. Amityville, The Curse, and New Generation, and It's About Time. It's About Time and A New Generation were notoriously hard to find.
Is there any out there out of the 20 odd that you would recommend if you enjoyed this one?
Off the top of my head, I would say, I think Amityville Curse is probably out of the. I would class the first 7 films as, to me, the Amityville kind of series in my head.
Yeah.
I think Amityville Curse was probably the weakest out of them, maybe 3 as well. But I think the other ones are actually they're made for TV horror films, but they're quite there's a comfort about them as well.
It's interesting because to me, like, nobody talks about this franchise, right? The same way you get like horror fans will like talk about Halloween or Friday the 13th, but take it away from slashers, the Conjuring franchise even, which is quite new, the Saw franchise. Nobody talks about, how good is the Amityville franchise, but nobody even like talks about their favourite one. Like somebody might go, my favourite Halloween is Halloween 4 or whatever, but nobody talks about it. Like, you never hear anyone going, my favourite's Amityville Shark House, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. And only the other one I've really seen is the remake. And I really enjoyed the remake. I did see it before this. I thought it was really cool to see Ryan Reynolds playing this kind of more dark character, and Melissa George as Kathy. Tremendous. I think she doesn't get enough credit for her performance in the remake because Ryan Reynolds is in it.
Yeah.
And the wee girl in it, can you remember who plays the girl?
Is it? It's not Chloe Moretz, is it?
Mm-hmm. She's good in it as well.
Yeah. Isabel Connor, she played Jodie. There was an Amityville film done where it was speaking to one of the Lutzes, the kids, the boy, and it was his story about what the Amityville has done to his life.
Right.
An interview with him. Can't remember his name.
So it's more like a documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of it specifically. I think I saw parts of it when it came out maybe 10 years ago or so.
And although I've not seen them, I do understand exactly what you mean when you say comfort films,
Yeah.
especially the older ones. Like, I remember flicking through TV and the Amityville 2 was on with Burt Young, and I watched it until I fell asleep. It was just, I stopped, got into it, the mood, the light, just, you know, it was probably about 1 a.m. on a Friday night. I was probably about like 17, just not out that weekend, and it was just great. That was things like that. Like, I love late 70s, early 80s comfort horror like that. An American Werewolf in London, Hellraiser films even.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, just this old kind of grungy horror. It's great.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? I think one of those Amityville films, I don't know if it's Amityville Curse, but it's about a haunted mirror. So it doesn't actually take place in the Amityville house. It's just, I think it's in a flat somewhere.
Do you think it's like it's been sold from the house?
I think so, aye.
And the spirits went with it. You know?
Aye.
Yeah.
But those last two, they were maybe 10, 15 years ago trying to get Amityville It's About Time and A New Generation. I think you can get them in VHS, and they were expensive, but now I think you can get them on Prime and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Anything else you want to say on the Amityville Horror? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I think it's pretty solid. It's a classic, isn't it?
I would recommend it in the same notion as comfort film.
Yeah. The 70s, man, just they've got so many great films out there that I was reading up on stuff, and I heard this a while ago, and actually I just thought of this here, could it be that Charles Manson and the Manson murders, when you look at them, see with the long hair and the beard and all that kind of stuff, there's something there that's quite resembling
the Ronnie character, the
DeFeos. And they said that, I don't know the exact quote, it was something to do with, because that's why with what happened to the Manson murders, the Vietnam War, that sort of ended the sort of hippie movement at the time. So after that, hippies were sort of looked at as sort of culty people.
Yep.
Which is really, really interesting. And I think there's so many films from the 70s sort of encapsulate that trauma from the time, especially with the Vietnam War. And I think this film and the performances for the actors really do convey those emotions and and that trauma really, really, really well.
On finding horror in the home, I'm going to give my creative recommendation.
Okay.
And it is The Coffee Table.
Oh, hey!
All we're going to say is horror in the home, trauma in the home, little dark comedy in the home.
Yeah.
We're not going to spoil anything.
Nope.
As a foreign film, it is it Spanish? Spanish horror film.
Yep.
I'm going to recommend The Coffee Table as my creative recommendation. Not going to spoil anything. Please just go watch it. Stephen, what is your creative recommendation?
My creative recommendation is a book that I started reading the other day by Felix Blackwell called The Church Beneath the Roots. I'm only at kind of maybe 40, 50 pages in, but it is set in an Indian reservation, tying in with the
theme.
The theme. It's the prequel to Stolen Tongues by the same author. So yeah.
Well, that's another episode come to an end.
Well, hold on, we've not rated how many
I knew we've got to do something. We're supposed to do that before the creative recommendations. So yep.
Oh, by the way, that's something actually I mentioned. The scene where Kathy has the sort of the dream that George is in, and he's like hacked Amy to death with an axe.
Good scene.
Shit. Yeah.
Good scene.
Pretty terrifying. How many Jodies would you give the film? Would you like to change it to something else?
No, you go with your Jodies.
How many Jodies?
I would give it 3 out of 5 Jodies.
I thought it'd be higher, I'm not going to lie.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, now you put me in.
No, don't.
Nah, fairly stick to 3.
Stick to 3.
I think it's just missing a little bit in plot. It doesn't tie well together, but it's a little bit messy. But it's enjoyable.
I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. 3.5 Jodies. And I think mainly the performances from the cast really bring it to life. That's my say.
Well, that wraps up another episode. So join us next week where we'll be discussing...
Is it rec or is it record?
I don't know, I'll go rec.
I've actually heard people say REC.
How about open square bracket, REC, close square bracket? We're doing rec.
We're doing rec next. Rec next? Yep.
If you're enjoying what you're hearing, then please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leaving a review helps us reach more listeners, so please do that. If you want to join the discussion, then you can join our Facebook group, The Horror Cut Show, or you can follow us on Instagram at The Horror Cut Show. Anything else you want to add?
I'm still Steg. This is still Gary, signing off. Until next time.
I like that sign off, it was like the Nostromo. Cheers, thanks.
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.